Hi, Tina fans, and welcome back. As you probably know, there is a new book by photographer Paul Cox that just got released. It's entitled Simply Tina, and honestly, it is simply the best. It is filled with never seen before photos and great stories, and really, it's a must have for every Tina fan. To mark the occasion, I had the chance to talk to Paul, and here is what he had to say about his time working with Tina. If you want to order the book, follow the link in the comments and enjoy. The new book is really, really cool. It's beautiful, and I enjoy so many never seen photos before. I mean, I don't understand. They're so great. How come then they've never been published
Well,
before?
there are a few more, but the book was limited to size, so there's always the ones that are good, and a lot of the stuff I don't have anymore. It went in different directions over the years. I mean, those first pictures in the book were what, 83, 84. So that's for how many years? 40 years ago. So,
Yes.
and things go missing over the years, you know.
I've never seen a picture of you and Tina. There's no photo of Tina and yourself in the book.
Yeah, I am. I'm in the book.
You are in the where? I tried to find it, but I
I
couldn't see
refuse
it.
to have a picture of myself in the book. If you look under 1985, there's the party where
Ah,
she first met Erwin,
okay. Yeah, the black
or
and white
one
shot.
of the first things. I'm in the first picture on the left-hand page
Okay,
with Tina.
I'll look at that. All right, great.
You won't recognize me. Yeah.
Tell us what inspired you to create the book and how did your journey into your archives came about?
Well, what happened was I've got a filing cabinets of pictures of various artists, and Tina did her 80th birthday book, and I had somebody come round to go through pictures and have a look, see what I had, and it started it off sort of then. And um, what happened was I was doing a book on the cure. I did a limited edition book. And the guy I was doing it with, a guy called Fabrice, in fact, he lives in Paris. He has his own book company called Moonboy, um, and he does sort of quite avant-garde, sort of Susie and the Banshees, people like that. I've sort of met him years ago, um, but mainly he approached me. He does book covers and design. He does lots of different books and various things under his own company, but he does designs for other book companies. And I've met him where he's sort of come round and said, "Oh, have you got a picture? What pictures have you got of this artist or whatever?" So we just built up a relationship. And it's just one of those things. He's such a nice guy. He's no, neither of my books, these two books I've done recently, would have happened without him. He saw the stuff. I had all the Tina stuff out, and he said, "Well, we should do a Tina book." So I went, "Well, I suppose that there's enough stuff there to do one." And so because I had it all out, because it takes ages to find everything in amongst my archive. I mean, shall I move the camera and just give you an idea?
Oh, please.
This wall here, that they're all negatives in there,
Wow.
and these are all negatives in here.
God.
Draw loads of transparencies,
So it's pretty well preserved and organized.
and it's organized, but it's finding everything. Um, just to see what I've actually got. So anyway, so we started collating all the pictures and putting them into an order. And he was going into doing a cover for, I don't know, some artist for Omnibus Books, and he was talking to one of the people there, and they said, "Oh, we'd like we'd pick up on it," but this was after Tina had died, and the book was already virtually finished.
Oh God.
Way before. And so what I was trying to do was get the book finished and then approach her to do a forward, which I'm sure she would have done. But it all happened, and it looks like I've jumped on the bandwagon and sort of produced this book because of that. And it's not the case at all. So the book was, that's why it came out so quickly, because it literally got turned around in 2 months, which is sort of unheard of in terms of organising a book and getting it printed and whatever. So it was a sort of a weird situation. So I spoke to people like Roger Davis and showed him the PDF and everything, and he was like, "Yeah, fantastic, you know, really love it, you know, well done. It was, you should have done it years ago," type thing. So I had their approval on the book and everything. So
instead of Tina doing the foreword, you got Martin Ware doing those for the book.
We got Martin Ware. I don't know Martin Ware. I met him a couple of times. He's not a thing, but he had a close connection, and he was in the beginning of the book. So he was, and it was just a sort of a person that we could use to do a forward. So, which was nice of him to do so.
And pretty emotional words, really beautiful words.
Yeah, exactly. We let him say. I think that's what it's a celebration of her over the years. Like, as Roger Davis said to me, it brings back lots of memories and lots of situations. So it's a little bit personal. It showed her in various moods. You know, she's always happy and 99% of the time, but she's also, everybody has their sort of downtime, you know, so it showed a little bit of that as well.
The book spans 2 decades of Tina's career. How did you witness her evolve as a performer during that time period, as an artist and a performer?
Well, when I first saw her on the tube, you know, it was like, I just got booked to do this job by a record company. You know, I've been working since 1977, and it was just a job in photographer, go and shoot Tina Turner on the tube. That's all I sort of knew, go to Newcastle. So I went and did the job, and she just absolutely blew everybody away, including myself. You know, it was just the power of it. And she, you know, she played, apart from the track that she did with Martin Ware and Heaven 17,
Let's stay together.
Apart from doing that, she went on and played a number of other tracks, or sung a load of songs, and everybody was really enjoying themselves. So she ran over, and I'm pretty sure this is true. The news got delayed by about 5 or 10 minutes because she just kept going. And she was so good that they didn't want to stop. So that was my first encounter. And then after that, it's sort of just, you know, she's just got so much energy on stage. You know, once she goes, she's off. She moves so fast. She's always one of the hardest people to photograph when she's moving.
Yeah, that's what you mentioned in the book, that her performances are so high energy that it's sometimes difficult to capture. Can you elaborate more on that? How do you manage to get a good picture in the end?
Just take a lot of pictures. It's being in the right place at the right time. Anybody that the live performances were sort of, you know, I had access to good areas and good situations, so that helped a great deal. But as I say, a lot of the material has gone different. You know, EMI, the management, various people had kept a lot of the stuff. So what I did have is all the black and white negs. So I had most of that because I used to do all my own printing. Well, I still do a bit of printing myself, but we had to go back through that to find the odd shots that, you know, haven't been used that much. Her energy on stage is just hard to capture, to actually bring it across, the movement, the adrenaline, the power of her, you know. So.
And apart from assignment, did you get to see her on every tour or many times live?
No. I mainly covered sort of specials, various things that, yeah, I just get booked by Roger or the record company, and she was just happy, you know, for me to be around. She's just comfortable, you know. I was pestering her all the time. I pester her to do this pitch, stand over here for a minute, do this for a minute, and it gradually over the years I got a little bit more and a little bit more time. You know, because she was busy just sort of doing other things. When I was like video shoots, they go on for, you know, they used to go on for 2 days, and there's lots of hanging around, but she doesn't want to do anything offset because she's already been working, so she wants her downtime. So I'd have to go, Tina, can we do? And she'd just go, oh God, not you again, you know. But we had a nice sort of working relationship.
You were there during the HBO special, the 1986 one, where there is a photo of Tina with Wilson Pickett. We've never seen it before. Never any photos of Tina with Wilson Pickett. Did you witness what happened with Wilson Pickett that night?
I didn't witness it, but I know what happened. Yeah, I think he was sort of, this is what I'm saying. Tina was always she was right up there. She was a rock and roll star, except she was really, really down to earth. And I can't emphasize that enough. Where other people she worked with sometimes, and it's sort of Wilson Pickett's a typical example. He turned up and he wanted this, he wanted that. And Tina even offered, I mean, I heard that, you know, Tina offered him her dressing room.
Apparently, yeah.
Right. And, you know, and it got to a stage, I don't know how it happened, but anyway, he got told enough's enough.
Yeah, that's always been a crazy story among the fans, like what really happened with Wilson Pickett that evening. Like,
I don't know the ins and outs. It was going on backstage, but it was those pictures are done in the rehearsal. Robert Cray took his place. He was on the show anyway, but he learned that song like that quick.
What do you believe truly defines a legacy and strengths as an artist and a performer?
I just think she had a really good work ethic. She always, you know, if she could help it, she wanted to give it 101%. And whether this was due to all her background history, I don't know. But she always appreciated everybody's help. After we did the shoot in her house in the south of France at the end of the book, I met her with all the pictures at a hotel just off the Park Lane that she always, I don't know what hotel, can't remember the name of the hotel, but she always stayed there. And yeah, I turned up with the pictures and Roger was there and Tina was obviously there, and we went through the pictures, and she was on a schedule and I was trying to pack everything up, and Roger goes, we've got to go. So I'm like rushing, packing stuff up, and Tina goes, don't worry, stay, chill out, you know, stay in the room, just take your time. And Roger was like, no, time to go. So she was quite happy for me to just stay in her hotel room and just leave me there, you know. So that was her attitude. She was really, just really, really nice.
And when it came to choosing the final photos for an album on everything, was Tina the final word? Did she have?
The process would be a mix of things, but she'd definitely have the final say. She'd have to be happy with it.
Can you elaborate a bit more on the relationship between her and Roger when it came to selecting some photos over?
Well, I think Roger was her mentor. You know, he guided her, and I personally, all I am is a photographer, and I don't know the total ins and outs, but from what I see, just as a general thing, is, he directed her in the right directions, and she eventually, sort of put her, she loved the fashion, especially in the 80s, the Peter Lindbergh and Herb Ritts and fashion and all that. She loved all that. So I was always the underdog in that sort of. This was always my thing. I used to say to Roger, that they get all day, I get 5 minutes. Eventually, really nicely, which is the sort of the end of the book. It is like I get 3 minutes there, and by the end of the book, I get a whole day in the south of France with her.
Yeah, it's really
big circle.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Did she bring
nice thing.
a lot of ideas to the photo shoot in terms of the photo, the styling, the locations and stuff, or?
Usually what happens, I mean, on video shoots, it's not my direction, or not my, well, no, I took her to one side, and sometimes she'd have some other clothes that she didn't wear on the shoot, and she'd go, I can change into this, and I go, that'd be great. But when we had more time, especially like the South of France and the poster you like, there was options, and we went through the options, what would work best. But she had totally her idea of what it all stems from her. There was a little bit of styling, but a lot of it came from her. Purely, people would turn up with clothes, and she'd pick stuff that she liked.
Do you remember if there were any music playing during the photo sessions, or was it just pretty quiet or anything?
Nothing. I would have put general music on. Nothing that I would say comes to mind.
Just going back to the video, the shooting of the video clip from Two People, when Tina is in the rain and everything, and you took some really candid shots. What do you think it reveals about her personality and work ethic?
She's an absolute trooper. A lot of people wouldn't put up with it, and in fact, that one of my sort of favorite shots, but not necessarily picture-wise, but because of the situation at the time, was that picture, that one, and that was taken on that shoot. But I took her to one side, and it was like about 2 o'clock in the morning, and she was going, I look really rubbish at the moment. I said, you don't look rubbish, you look really, really good. And it's beautiful. It was a little bit of light and a situation that I saw that I thought she looks fantastic in that at the time, and it still sort of shows now. And so that's how I built my relationship up. I'd push things and like do it at 2 o'clock in the morning. She's had enough. She's wants to go home, had enough of it, down the docks all night, but we get a couple of really nice pictures out of it. So that's possibly why I got booked again.
You were on the shooting of the video clip of GoldenEye.
Yeah. Which was a big deal at the time.
I guess so. And so yeah. I guess this was Tina's idea, and Roger said no. For those when I saw that photo, I said, this is so Tina, but I would doubt that Roger would allow a photo like that to go out.
Well, only certain pictures came out. I mean, if I had all the pictures I'd ever taken in my career, it would fill the room I'm standing in now 3 or 4 times, and you can't digitize everything. We could have done possibly another book, like it or extended on. We had to knock off lots of pictures because we were limited with the pages, but it sort of whittled it down to.
Do you think it could happen in the future, a book 2 with Tina?
I don't know. We'll see how book 1 goes first.
In 2004, when you went to the south of France, Tina stumbled in the stairs or something before the photo shoot?
Yeah, no, during she was having lots of work done to her house, and there was like all this building site at the back. That's all the rusty brick stuff in the background in some of the pictures. And we went for a walk just to get something different pictures wise. And she walked across the grass, and there was a set of steps, sort of about 4 or 5 steps. And she came down the steps, and she got to the bottom. She hit the grass again, and her heels went into the grass, but she tumbled from the bottom 2 steps, and she just went crashing down. But somehow she did a roll. She did a forward roll. You know, when I was walking behind her, and I just saw her go, and I thought, oh, and it was like slow motion, and she went tumbling across the lawn. And I thought, oh, this could be it, you know. And she just did a forward roll and got back up again and went, whatever.
Like, did she have to change or anything for the rest of the shoot? Was she injured or anything?
Nothing that bad. I mean, her shoes needed cleaning, but I mean, apart from that, I mean, it wasn't it was obviously the weather was nice, and so it wasn't an issue.
Just, I forgot one question. What is your favorite Tina photo of Tina that you took?
I quite like only because of the movement and so on. There's a couple of pictures in the book where she's. Oh, in fact, look, yeah, I thought you might say that. But they're for different reasons. That one?
Yeah.
I like the brolly.
Beautiful.
Well, yeah, I like the movement in the other one because she's smiling, there's movement, and it's always difficult to get across her energy. So the movement and the way she looks in it, I just like it. It says to me, Tina Turner.
I learned a lot of things in your book, so thank you for that. And I didn't know that you took this photo, and I had it over my wall since I was a teenager. It's been my favorite photo ever, my favorite poster. So,
there you go.
Thank you for taking the time, and again, congratulations on the book. I love it, and I'm sure the fans will love it, and everybody's gonna order it. The people I know are all ordering it. So, have a nice evening.
All right, thank you very much, Ben. Thanks.
Bye-bye, Paul. Bye.
Yeah, nice to meet you.